All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Matt, Mellison on BGA, and this is my best game. It's a turn-based game between myself, Halai, Jekyll, and Simone B, who I'm just going to refer to as Simon probably, because that's how I say it in my head. Sorry, Simon. Sorry, Europe. It's on the Fire and Ice map with Fire and Ice extra scoring, distance scoring in this case, so the distance between your two farthest apart connected structures, and with landscapes on. So Jekyll, Simon, and along with Bishigoa and myself have played a lot of turn-based games together. You might have seen Jekyll's from earlier in Zorus' series here. It's going on about 2 years now. But Bish is on a little Terra Mystica holiday, so Jekyll invited Halai to a game for fun, which is great. Not only because Halai is a great player, but it's kind of my Terra Mystica role model. Idol. I don't know the best word for it. But I think it's a common thing when you're learning to play this game with as good of a community as there is here. You look towards some of the greater players, the superstars out there, and you learn the game from them. And I think everybody kind of had their person where you look and say, like, that person knows how to play Terra Mystica, like at a deeper level and a level that you want to strive to get towards. That was definitely Halai for me. Just happened early on, like back in 2020. Happened into a turn-based game with him. I have it up here. There's five players in revised base. He played nomads, and I thought they were a stronghold faction. And he just built a temple, up shipping, dotted dwellings across the map. Scored 160 points with one town. A 5-player game, and just kind of blew my mind for what was possible, what you could do in this game. And I thought that was just really cool. So after that, I saw some F2O games and other things, just really impressed. And then I happened into another game with him a couple months later, after I'd started to get a little bit better at the game. I think I was an expert at this point. And I said, all right, I'm going to do it this game. I know how to play Terra Mystica. I know how to win Terra Mystica. You play Swarmlings and you play tall. So that's what I did. And I won. It worked. Fantastic. Abandoned Stronghold, gummed up his Witches game a little bit, just enough to get the win. But then after the game, Halai, in a really kind way, not disparaging at all, but he just made a comment in the game chat about how he hated the new Swarmlings meta and how he thought it was bad for the game, uninteractive. I was just like, oh no, what have I done? My bridge on the River Kwai moment is like, oh, I was so focused on just winning the game that I didn't really think about. I don't know. It's not the most creative strategy in my attempt to go toe to toe with one of the most creative Terra Mystica players. So ever since, this game's always kind of stuck in my head since then. So when Jekyll suggested that we get a game against, we bring Halai in for a game, I was like, yes, all right, let's do it. This is finally a chance for a little personal. Can't even call it redemption. I'm being too dramatic about it. But it, whatever helps you get motivated for a game. But I was excited. So let's get to this game. Like I said, Fire and Ice map. If you want to go, let's break it down a little bit. Looking at the track. Scoring track, there are really two notable events. Dwellings in round 1 always get attention if you can. Dwelling rushes are good to begin with if you can score during it. It's always a great thing. So any faction that can get a bunch of dwellings out and get that economy rolling early loves that. The middle of the track is middling. There's not a ton going on. Round 3 is a little early to really take advantage of trading posts for most factions. At least that's what I thought. But then round 6 towns always gets everybody's attention. It can be a big payoff to a high econ game. So there's some economic gameplay synergy between really getting your dwellings out and rolling in round 1 and then cashing it in for a ton of points in round 6. So in parallel to the scoring track, you have the cult rewards track, which is, I think, pretty interesting here. Round two coins for every priest ascended cults. That's when it's late in the game, a lot of people can take advantage of this. Early on, it's harder to, but if you can get those coins early, it can really pay. Like you get that economic boost early, can translate into a much better rest of the game. And of real note are these air cult rewards. Spades after round 3 and workers after round 5. Interesting, not just because they're stacked, but because they fit really nicely with the scoring track. Getting spades going into a dwelling round makes it a lot easier to take advantage of round 4 dwellings when the board's a little more crowded and you don't necessarily have the same number of open hexes. Being able to make a hex or two of your own open can really boost your ability to take advantage of this round. And then workers in round 5 going into the town round can be that extra lift you need to carve out extra space for your town, or at the end of the game, especially in a distance scoring game when everybody's kind of pushing for the corners, because you want to max out how far you can get across the board. A couple extra workers can be a real boost there. So I think the cult track is interesting here. And in scoring tiles, we are missing the spade. So any faction that can generate their own spades is at a bit of an advantage here. And we don't have ship scoring or worker power. Big upshot of that is that there's only one pass tile with power on it, temp ship right here, which is already a great tile for round 1. But also will give an advantage to whoever gets it, because they'll have a leg up on getting double dig in round 1. In a dwelling round, that's an extra nice boost. So look out for whoever's in 3rd or 4th seat to get that edge up. So start putting in factions. Simon's got first spot and he puts in mermaids. Makes a ton of sense. They're great on this map. The track is nice for them. Dwellings round 1, into towns round 6 they love. Big buildings round 5 late is good. Their shipping advantage can be nice for rushing out to the corners. They have an easy start in first seat. They can take a single spade. If they start in D6, spade D5, get to B3. Easy couple dwellings just like that, without anybody being able to do much about that. So even though they won't get power on a pass tile, they start with enough to have a good opening. Position 2, I'm going to put in Halflings here for a couple reasons. One, I just like playing Halflings. They aren't necessarily the best on the Fire and Ice map, but they are nice in distance scoring here because you have this A1 in the corner here down to I9. If you can race to those corners and get there before anybody else, you've locked up at least a tie for first place in distance scoring, which is a nice advantage in a game like this. And then maybe those air cult rewards, like workers going in around 6, they can maybe take advantage of those to have a small leg up there. Worth a shot. We play Halflings a lot in our games here. Sort of is just an anti-cultist pick, but also because they're a flexible faction, can do a lot in a lot of setups, and just kind of fun to play. So in seat 3, Halai is going to put in nomads, which again makes sense to the setup. They're nice on this map, round 6 towns. They can do really well with. In seat 3, they'll probably start with the big building tile, which they can open stronghold, sandstorm out a couple dwellings. Like you can see a strong setup without having to do too much. Right off the bat, it just makes my Halflings pick look a little sad in hindsight, because nomads are really good at choking off their color neighbors. And then in seat 4, Jekyll puts in engineers. I've always struggled with engineers on this map. I've seen other people have good games with them, but I've never really managed to. But this seems like a decent setup to try. No color neighbors. They'll start with temp ship, which guarantees them double ding in round 1. Good avenue. They can start here and maybe e5 dig to d9, or start g8 and have just several hexes around here that they can work with. Late big buildings isn't bad. Round 2 temple, like they can maybe take advantage of these first couple track rounds into the late game. I think this is a decent setup for an engineers game here. But the bidding starts on mermaids. Unsurprisingly, again, like mermaids just have a great setup here. Kind of a lot of things that you look for in a mermaids game. Without the not having the ship VP tile is a bit of a bummer here. As we can break down the other setups here. Engineers, like I said, probably start here, or G8, take double spade and dot a couple dwellings. H5, I would bet the other dwelling goes. Nomads will start C5, D4, and then either I4. I4 is nice because you can sandstorm I5 and have a really easy stretch right here. Makes connection trickier, so A4 is another option. And then halflings. Halflings have a somewhat of a tricky choice here. There's really 4 good starting spots for halflings on this map. D8, C3, F4, or H4. H4 is nice because engineers are right there, probably right there. So you have some nice building synergy here, and this is a nice single dig stretch here. Only downside is nomads could start I4. They're probably going to start D4. So connection and expansion is just kind of capped and limited here. So, and especially if you're going to try to rush to A1 or I9, H4 is really far away from all of those. F4, decent town space. It's hard to, from your starting dwellings, it's hard to find like reasonable town space. F4 to I8 could be a stretch here, but again, doesn't really help your distance goals. F4 to C3, I don't know how you connect that. F4 to D8, you're not getting to A1. So there's trade-offs with each spot. Like it is a round 6 town game. So if you want to prioritize finding space for a town, F4 is a possibility. I myself would start D8 and C3. I think connection is just really important here, and distance scoring is kind of how halflings can get their edge in this game. Network is going to be a real challenge with neighborless mermaids, neighborless engineers, and stronghold nomads. Like getting any network points would be a boon for halflings, but an unlikely one. So distance scoring can be how they kind of make up that difference a little bit and get an edge. And it's something, anytime just like fire and ice scoring is in the game, it's always something I think I think everybody prioritizes it, but I think I might give it a little more attention than others do. And I don't see a halflings game here without prioritizing that. So that all being said, I think mermaids have a really solid starting plan, really solid whole game plan. A lot they can work with. Engineers don't have color neighbors, and they're engineers, and they start on temp ship and can get double dig. That's a great start. Nomads, stronghold, round 6 towns, like that's a solid game, and halflings are clearly the 40 faction here. So let's go through bidding a bit, because this all goes pretty much as expected. Mermaids down for a while, engineers down for a while. Jekyll and I run nomads down. Just another solid, like all these factions have solid plans. Halflings, wait. Start getting kind of low on these, and I start thinking about when the time to jump to halflings is. This point, I'm sitting on engineers at 25, so 15 points down. I'm like, that's kind of low for someone who doesn't know how to play engineers on fire and ice. So start thinking more about the halflings game. Engineers, like I said, start in temp ship, nomads start big building, and that leaves the priest for halflings. A shipping halflings game, because I think if you start C3 and D8, you have to ship. Mermaids will take D5, nomads will take here. Like you don't have any hexes any single dig hexes within 1 ship range, which is a kind of a little terrifying predicament. Like, you got a ship to get out, which means fire 1 and which means temples. So starting with the priest and knowing that you're going to get fire 1, you can send that priest to fire, get that extra 4 power there and 2 coins right there. That's good. A little extra boost. Power is not the best cult reward, but it's something. Then mermaids are probably going to take single spade with their first action. You're not going to get double dig because engineers are going to get double dig. So the priest is the next best thing to do to get in round 1, and that priest could be really nice. You send that to air, you get another 2 coins. You've got at least 1 spade locked up there, and maybe you can get a couple more priests to air and get 2 spades, and you're getting that worker bonus right there. And we already talked about how good I think that the spade and the worker bonuses are. So like that's starting to be something. Get some coins, have a nice coin income, build a second temple in round 2, and you'll have priests to expand. Spades going to the dwelling round. Take advantage of that. Like, round 4 is kind of late to be building dwellings, but like, again, the economy in this game is directed at scoring. It's not necessarily like trying to get a big economy just for the sake of it, because you're still not going to get much on network here. The biggest thing is coins to get shipping to race towards the corners for distance scoring. So getting more dwellings out isn't that. It's just a matter of getting early coins and priests, which I think there's a good Halflings game plan for. So at this point, I think I'm ready to jump to Halflings. I'm just stuck on engineers and really hoping that get bid down 1 more, which Simon obliges, and let's run Halflings. There we go. Dwelling placements, mostly as expected, D6. Like I said, I'm going C3 and D8. Expected. Engineers start E5 and H5. Reasonable. Nomads are respect. The one unexpected is that mermaid started H6 right there rather than F5. Gives a neighbor to engineers and takes off the pressure for D9. So engineers could take D9 with their first action. H6 is a good spot for mermaids. I mean, you have a neighbor, and Halai's going to want more neighbors, as we'll see in a couple turns. And this is a good healthy stretch for mermaids right here. So it's nice to take advantage of it. And then Jekyll goes A4. So Halflings in the round 6 town game, not getting a town there, not getting a town here. I don't know where I'm going to get a town, but that's for later. That's for these workers to figure out. So first things first, bonus cards shake out as anticipated, except for Halai takes the TP tile, which was very unexpected. I thought they would go with coins. But we'll see why momentarily. Mermaid single dig D5, first action, expected. I grab a priest. This is all kind of playing out according to how expected. Another dwelling there. I upgrade here for leech. It's giving, it's never the best to be the last person upgrade, but since these will both Jekyll and Simon will give me leech independently, it's nice. And this stretch is going to get built on, and I'll get more leech from there. So I wanted to get that temple up there. And now that I have a temple, Jekyll goes stronghold there. Simon takes double dig, 4 and D9, connection path there, and expansion to this little continent over here. All makes a lot of sense. Halai then hard digs F3, so he uses that extra worker to dig F3, which is I do not expect coming, but Halai is living up to my expectations as a creative player. And that opens up G4, so he's going to end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dwellings in round 1, going into a temple round 2, and he's going to pass first. Because Jekyll's got a couple moves here, and so does Simon. So he can pass first for coins and have just a roaring economy. going into round 2. Pay off. So now that I have my TP up, for leech, start sending priest to cults. So that priest to fire first. Jekyll bridges, connection, or for place an extra dwelling this round. I built his. Priest to heir 2. The other benefit of priest to cult here is that there's no real culty faction in this setup. Mermaids Dwelling, and beyond that, Mermaids Dwelling, Rush, Nomads Open Stronghold. So nobody is going to have priests besides Simon and myself. So getting this jump on the cults will probably translate to a pretty good cult score at the end of the game. So, and then, as talked about, Temple here for Fire 1 to get the extra 4 power in on 1. Blizzard Dwelling there. She's Sandstorm D3, which opens up with 1 more Sandstorm. So you can either get to B2 or to D1. And then Simon passed this, so Temp Ship is now available. Temp Ship would be really nice for me. I want to build another temple next round. But I'd also love to be able to put a couple dwellings out because my worker economy is negligible. It's great to have coins in the ship, but like you actually need workers at some point to build dwellings. So if I could get Temp Ship and some power to make some things happen next turn, that would be great. So this is somewhere I get a little lucky. I decided to take the coins here instead of next turn. I probably could have just passed right now. Down converted a little power, passed for Temp Ship, and down converted a little bit of power because I'd overflow otherwise. But I decided to do the coins here and gamble that I'll still get Temp Ship. Jekyll, nothing here indicates that she wants Temp Ship. More likely that she'd pass for the dwelling scoring and get a pretty decent number of points off of that. And so I take coins, and Jekyll does, in fact, pass for dwelling scoring, which leaves me Temp Ship. All right, so let's take stock of things at round 2. Said Halai's got an awesome economy going. He's going to build a temple somewhere. I was hoping it'd be D6 and ends up being D6. My thought is that the Halfling's position looks so dismal at this point, at least on paper, that he doesn't mind giving out a little bit of extra leech to me. So happy to take that. What I want to do this round is I'd love a worker action because that way I could build up to a temple for Earth 1 and then place 2 dwellings with Temp Ship because I can advance ship with this priest and maybe put a dwelling B7 and a dwelling E6 if they're open to me. And then if possible, I'd also love another priest. I could send it to heir to start getting ready for this reward here, and it would get me 2 extra coins this round's cult bonus. So it's going to take a little bit of leech to get there, but like I said, Halai does upgrade D6, which gives me a bit, and I'm going to get a little more leech also from, so I upgrade C3 to get that extra leech when he upgrades to the temple there. And he temples for water 1 in anticipation of the TP round next round, and because he's put a decent number of dwellings out. That's nice because it takes the pressure off of the rest of us to get Earth 1. I'd love to get Earth 1 in this game. You always think about, at least I always think about double econ with Halflings because I think they can take good advantage of it. They have the built-in scoring mechanism for each dig. But in this case, like I said, I don't think I could go a lot of econ in this game, and it's still probably not going to translate into much network points. So if I took Earth 2 or Air 2 what's it really getting me? Like I said, I can probably get this cult reward anyways, now that I'm getting some power. And I haven't built any dwelling, so I would score on, I'd get 2 points for every single dwelling I built in this game, which is always just a nice bonus. So I'd love to get Earth 1. So that's my goal this round, Earth 1 and then 2 dwellings. So Simon's building up there for a temple. Jekyll's building there. And then I have enough power and no one else is really threatening. I take the priest before, I don't know that Halai or Simon would, they'd be burning below 6. But grab the priest first, and then the worker action isn't threatened either. So I end up being able to get everything done this round that I wanted to. Oh, I'm going out of order. Simon actually temples for water 1, again in anticipation of next round. He'll take Earth 1 in round 3, I believe. Jekyll temples for Earth 1, and then I grab that worker's action and proceed through the rest of the turn here. She sandstorms A8, leaving me B7, which is very kind. She's probably just looking for a neighbor. But getting an extra dwelling out this round is going to be really nice to keep up some minimal worker economy going. Okay, everybody's passed, and I just have finished off a couple steps. So upgrade ship, place 2 dwellings, E6 here, and then B7. And then send that priest to air here. So again, I'm in position. I'll have 2 priest income next turn, so I can definitely send 1 to air and get those cults, get both those cult spades. And now looking to pass for next round. Dwelling scroll could be nice, but I'd really like that dwelling tile in round 4. So maybe what I can do, I'm thinking here, is I can take a quick round 3, because I'm not building any trading posts. I don't have nearly the economy or positioning to do that. But if I can have a really quick round 3, get the workers from the big building tile here, because I am desperate for workers, and then pass quickly onto this dwelling tile, that would be a really effective use of, I think, of my game plan and trying to maximize scoring this round as best I can. Because if I boost my shipping up all the way, I could hopefully get to A1 in round 4, and use cult spades around down here too. I think I could easily place 5 or 6 dwellings in round 4, score double with them since I have Earth 1, and get the dwelling pass scroll bonus. So that's my game plan. So hopefully everyone else cooperates with that. Let's see. Halai takes coins. Again, this economy is just going. Halai kills the round scoring this game. He ends up with like 55 points from the track, which is just remarkable. Simon's building up there. Like I said, engineers can take advantage and build a couple trading posts this round. So they'll probably have a little bit of a longer round. Jekyll sent a priest to cult. She's got a cult step and a sandstorm. And she probably wouldn't mind building a trading post somewhere either. So I'm thinking I can do this. Send that priest to air to get the spade. Yeah, there's a Simon Temple for Earth 1 here. Dwellings. And then I bump ship here. So I had two actions I wanted to do. I wanted to send that priest to air to get the spades, and then I wanted to bump ship to 2 because then I can use my cult spade on G9 here and open the south. I could have considered taking a priest here and boosting shipping one more time. And then I could use my cult spade on C2 potentially. But Jekyll still had her sandstorm, and there's a risk that she would dig this turn, and that would kind of cut off this plan, and I risked losing the dwelling tile with that approach. So if it comes back to me, I'm going to take the safer route and just pass for the dwelling tile now. In anticipation of boosting dig later and using these workers eventually to get to wherever I can get to. And after this round, I'll have a pretty good worker economy. So let's see how it plays out. Jekyll sandstorms across the top. So here I could have taken this the shipping plan, and maybe in hindsight I maybe should have. I guess there's another risk that but Halai doesn't want a hard dig here. He's looking to build trading post, and we'll need, I think, all of his workers after this round. So that might have worked to try to rush A1 to I9. But I decided to pass. Getting the points for next round is really, this is going to be 7 points next round. So getting this for myself, passing first, and I can get a coins action, I think puts me in a pretty good position, at least as best as I can get here. More trading posts. So I'm building another spot for a trading post right there. Jekyll building her trading post. Everybody taking advantage of this round after I've just run away from it. So Halai passed onto the TP scroll, and he's built 4 trading posts this round with water 1. So that's looking real pretty, and has a little short on the worker side of things, but a lot of power, and that'll lead him into next round. He'll have power for some spades if nobody takes them first. Oh, actually, he has a spade this turn. I guess securing G6 before engineers threaten it, because I didn't realize how contested that hex was. But that opens up E3 for mermaids, or potentially the stretch out in here. So taking stock here at the end of round 3, Halai's got a decent lead, but I've got this jump on round 4 here, and I can score a lot of points with 4 points for probably, again, 5 dwellings here. On past tile, I think this is where I can kind of take advantage of how slow I've been playing so far, and I've left all these open dwelling spots because I have 2 spades. So I use the spade, 1 on G9 here, and then E7. And this E7, it doesn't really open up anything else, but we are getting close to this round 6 town event. Jekyll's got a town here coming. She's going to build out here. Here's a town. Engineers have this for a town, this for a town. Mermaids are probably building towards 3 towns here somewhere. I am building towards no towns. I have 2 temples and 2 dwellings going into round 4. This isn't a town spot. This is not a town spot. This isn't a town spot. So my best bet is right in here. And hopefully engineers will come F6 and give me a neighbor here. But that's about my only town prospects. So dwelling E7. Hopefully I can get F7 before engineers come around. So I take the coins first off. So this round I would love, if I can, to get C2. So I'm going to boost ship one more time. And at this point, yeah, I really wanted the coins this time because I'm going to be building out a lot of workers. And even though I have Fire 1 and I'll have all my shipping done, I like to keep the semblance of a balanced economy. And coins, like everybody else needs coins, especially Simon right here. He would snap those coins up in a heartbeat. So leaving them just seemed really powerful for the table. It does slow me down getting to C2 because Jekyll, actually she has her Sandstorm and she could take that at any time, but she could also take that even if I just boosted ship right away. She has tempo on C2 if she wants it. So we're going to push it and see if she can. So I take the coins. Jekyll takes or builds a temple at A3 here for the last water 2. So that scoring path is out of there for me. So as I'm thinking about towns here, building up a lot of trading posts for towns is not going to be a particularly efficient thing for me to do in this game. I'll have my dwellings, most of my dwellings down after this round, so I'll have to build some trading posts just to open more dwelling spots. But I'm not going to score for the trading post and the track. I'm not going to score for them in favor tiles. Maybe Air 1, but that's just not, that late in the game, it's not the most effective source. So I need to think about how I'm going to town, and the most scoring efficient way to do that. Because I need dwellings out because I need to push towards the corners. So speaking of pushing towards the corners, Halai takes double dig here as expected. He'll get a decent number of dwellings out this round. I boost ship. And again, my next move is, if Jekyll doesn't block it, is to hard dig C2, and then I can get to A1. And that'll get me to, I have enough workers to hard dig that and place 4 more dwellings after this round. So I can get A1, I9, lock up distance scoring, and then figure out the rest of the game from there. But that's not going to work because Jekyll is on to me and dig C2. Very expected. She'd like this corner too, and would like me to not get that corner. There's still a chance later I could triple dig B4 once I get my digs online, and then try to get A1, but I've really lost tempo on this corner of the map. So I need to start thinking about other distance because there are 2 diagonals here. It's going to be a little more costly, but hey, those workers are they're gonna go somewhere in this game, and I'm getting 4 of them after that round. So since C2 is not available, E1 is though. I can kind of sneak under here and open this side, this corner of the board to me. So I'm already right here and I have access to this side. From E1 and 3 ship, I can get anywhere down here. I don't have the dwellings to really like expand or consider towning down there, but I can hit this corner hopefully at some point. Let's keep going around. Ready building out dwellings. Simon is a little, oh, he's going to boost ship, I think, this round. His 2 open grays right there, but not a ton of other great expansion paths. Maybe, I guess he could dig E2 up to B4, but starting to really push his economy right there. He only has 1 priest available. That's right, he had to send his priest to water to get the priest reward there, but 4 priest income for next round is a little excessive. So he's in a bit of a tight spot for expansion. But Halai and Jekyll are building out dwellings pretty stably. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more dwellings to place this round. So place G9 and just start making my way south. Jekyll passes early for the TP tile, and she'll get the coins action at the start of next round too. just continuing to place dwellings. Again, my placement here, kind of having scattered dwellings, is not the most efficient for a town round, because I'm so spread out that tying dwellings together and building enough trading posts for more than one town is going to be difficult, and again, not the most efficient use of my resources, because trading posts aren't going to score that effectively. But dwellings are good. Dwellings are scoring me a ton in this round. And that's kind of my path forward. So I'm going to just keep going and then hope that halflings get enough digs late in the game to figure out how to cap it off. I sent one more priest to fire, hopefully sort of locking that cult up. Still a couple open spaces, and I've now sent 5 priests to cult, so I can't really send too many more. Just hoping for a big enough lead in fire to discourage anyone else from climbing up. So I pass with a lot of points. Scored 5 dwellings that round, plus a ship bump, and the tiled 31 points that round. That's nice. This starts to make my game look a lot stronger. Though I've now lost my ideal distance scoring corner, so that consideration of my game isn't looking quite as rosy as it did. But a lot of points for the dwellings, passing on to coins, and now I have strong economy. Question is, where do you go from here? It's a big building round. My sanctuary, if I were to upgrade one of these two into a sanctuary, not really going to get much, because like they're not towns. I can't sanctuary for water 1. I have no trading posts on the board now, so I could sanctuary for air 1 and get 6 points in the total in the game for that. That doesn't sound great. What does start to sound great is the stronghold. And this is my hot take of the video, but I think the stronghold can actually be good for halflings. Very setup dependent. But it gets a bad rap because the idea is you don't need the digs as halflings. The common thing is to start Earth 2. Especially on base map, shipping isn't always the most effective way to expand as brown. So the best alternative is to take Earth 2, up your digs, and build dwellings onto those easy hexes, because you get a lot of good digging opportunities on base map. But on maps like Fire and Ice and Fjords, shipping is often the best way to get there. So instead of Earth 2, you're looking at Fire 1 as an income favor, which helps get dwellings out, but you don't have quite the same like roaring worker economy, unless you can get those dwellings out really early. In this case, I got my dwellings out in round 4. Like, I have a good number of workers now, but that'll disappear quickly if I start trying to hard dig everywhere. So if you need the digs with the stronghold, it's not like those are just like 3 extra workers you didn't need and you're just digging for the fun of it. Those are digs that I was going to need, that I would probably need elsewhere. Because if you look at what I have left to do here, I want to get to this corner. So that's a dig there and a dig on A10, B8, A10. That's 3 workers for digging there. I need to dig F7, which is 2 workers. I need to dig something in this corner here, which is 2 or 3 workers. And I need to dig a connection, because I'm not connected here. There's 4 hexes in between these 2 temples. So that's another 2 or 3 digs, probably 3, because I am starting to compete a little bit for 3rd place on network. Simon only has 7 structures out, so I might be able to swing 3rd place in network. So I need a lot of digs. So when you consider the strongholds 1 worker and 8 coins for 5 points, that starts to look a little more palatable. It's a 3 power building for a town, in a game where I don't want to build trading posts. And it unlocks everybody's favorite landscape, the driller, which is great for network purposes, because again, I think I can squeeze out a few network points here, and it might just save an extra worker. So you end up, look at the stronghold maybe costing you like 8 coins. And I'm behind Halai in the pass order. He's third and I'm fourth. So there's a decent chance I get the big building scroll at the end of this round. And then it's 8 coins for 9 points. Like that, there's more complexity to it, but that starts to seem like a pretty decent idea. And it gets digs out this round. I don't know. I think there's some value in the stronghold on shipping dependent maps. So I'm going to build a stronghold because I kind of want to, and I think it's good. So this round, I want to build a stronghold because it'll score. I also want to upgrade digs twice because I'm at my priest limit. So it's either send those priests to cults on 1 steps, which is kind of lame in round 5, down convert them to workers, which means I'm forced to use my priest next round on upgrading digs or upgrade digs now. So I'm going to build a stronghold, upgrade digs twice, and do my best to pass onto that big building scroll. Not just for the points, but because those 2 workers, I'm going to need all the workers I can get next round. I have a lot of expensive digging in my future. So let's go through that. Everyone else, anything of note here? No, Simon builds Sanctuary, getting ready for Sanctuary Town there. He takes Air 1, but he's got a trading post out and can put them out more easily and effectively, so that makes some sense. Halai does the same. Looking for a town there, and somewhere around here. Not sure how that exactly is going to play out. But he's looking for 3 towns. Jekyll's going to get 3 towns here. Simon's probably 2 towns. And I'm hoping for my one forced town right over here. Not the town round of everybody's dreams. The other question is where to put my stronghold digs right now. B4 is a possibility because again I do still have dreams of there's still a chance I can get A1. Jekyll has a lot of work because she'd probably hard dig A1 before I could. But if I use my stronghold digs on B4, I could try or at least get A2. But once again, Jekyll's a step ahead. Sandstorm's B4, A1 is officially cut off. So now I'm just going to kind of stall a little bit before I use my stronghold digs. There's a chance I lose something else, but I kind of want to see how the board develops and maybe give people a little less time to respond to where I'm digging. I'm probably going to go B8, get to this corner on F7 because I'm worried that engineers could sneak into F6 and take F7 before I can secure that for a town. But in the meantime, upgrading digs because that's something I needed to do this turn. And sure enough, Simon boosts ship, so he is going to come to F6 and G8, I would assume. So F7 is something because he might have enough. If I don't take F7, he could do a 3rd town right here too. It's a nice stretch for engineers. More upgrading digs. I'm keeping a healthy points lead through that too. Upgrading digs is a nice source of points. It's always considered the 1 point per dig to be a nice point source for halflings, but just having the not virtually free, but the cheaper dig upgrades is always a nice source of just reliable points. Halflings, that's part of why I love them. They have reliable points. They have a lot of really flexible ways to play. Halai passes a turn earlier than I would have liked him to. Now there's a risk. I could pass now before I build the stronghold. If I really wanted the workers from the big building tile, I'd miss my 5 points here. And I'm going to need those points. Well, spoiler. Jekyll took a coin town right before the town round. I know she didn't do that lightly, so she's planning on using those coins to build out here. Like she's going to use those coins for something important. If she's forfeiting the 5 points from this round, so I'm pretty sure she's not going to pass after me or pass before I can build my stronghold. Simon might. He'd have to down convert some priest. He's at his priest limit too. But I think he'd like to build f6. Yeah, that would still get him a worker there. I'm hoping he has things to do. So I take a gamble. I go ahead and build the stronghold. Well, I'll get the 5 points for it. And like I talked about, I use 1 dig on b8, which opens up a10 for me, and 2 on f7 to secure that. Because that's the other. If I passed early before doing that, Simon might be able to get f6, dig f7, and blow up my one hope for a town. So with the drill on b8, I said I might even save a worker trying to hit this last file right here. So we'll see how it plays out. What did Jekyll do there? Boosting ship. She's going to try to expand. Taking E1 was a bit of an inconvenience for her because she'd like to get to this yellow and maybe down here and in here. But instead, she's got a lot of workers. She'll hard dig F2 in a second here. I get a little more power, and then I pass for that big buildings tile. So I have a nice 13 worker income going into round 6, which is nice because I still have I have a lot to do with those workers. Still don't have connection. Nobody's threatened it so far because Simon's not at 3 ship. But this is if he got up here, he could mess with my connection pretty quickly. Builds B9, so that's gone now. There's a little competition for A10 as the last one in this diagonal. So that'll be a priority next turn. Yeah. He and Jekyll both had plenty to do. They're attempting to stall for the TP tile here. So she hard digs F2. Oh, and I didn't mention Halai built his stronghold in round 5 too. And both big buildings there. Going to do 3 towns in round 5. The track was just smashed it. But that gave him 3 ship to get to H2. So as I'm looking to get to this corner, G1 is now under threat because Jekyll can sandstorm that next round. H2 is gone. So I really need. It's important that I get I2 or F1. I guess F1 is not really under threat. But no matter what, it's going to be 3 workers to dig into this corner here. More dwelling. Simon can't outlast for the TP tile. All right, and we are in to round 6. One more time, taking stock of things. My priorities this round. Town right here. So I need a dwelling there. I'd love a dwelling on A10. I need a connection dwelling, and I need something in this file. So that's 3 digs there, 2 or 3 digs here, and 1 dig here because the driller saves a worker. I think it's the first time I've ever saved a worker with the driller. So it is stronghold and driller really coming through for me this game, assuming I can get A10. That's 4 dwellings. I have 2 on my board, so I need to build 2 trading posts. I need 1 anyways for this town. So let's say 6 digs, 2 trading posts, and 4 dwellings is 14 workers. And I have 14 workers, which is great. So hopefully everything will go according to plan. Hopefully building 1 town doesn't hurt too bad. And then I get a little bit of boost here. Halai, instead of taking coins, takes double spade on F4, the brown right here. So that's his 3rd town right there. And so you can put a landscape here. There's a town, and that's where that 3rd town is going to be. I'll score well off of that. But that leaves the coins action for me, and since I'm a little short on coins, makes my life a bit easier. Don't have to worry about leech. Simon takes the 2 key town, boosts his cult score. My fire cult is being threatened. He sent those 2 priests to fire last round. So good thing I have my priest this turn, and we can slowly jockey our way up the fire cult one cult step at a time. Jekyll, this is somewhere where I was gambling when I took the coins action that Jekyll wouldn't take A10 first move. Again, as we're competing for longest distance here, that's kind of a turning point hex. So I was lucky here that she decided to prioritize town space here, and I think not letting Simon get through up there. I'm not entirely sure what the B5 priority was. But she's got her space, so now she's ready to form a town there, and she's got one there already. Ally secures space there, and then I'm able to take A10, which is the distance scoring here it's a game of inches. It's really like each hex that you can get is going to count. Nobody's got a corner-to-corner connection secured. Jekyll Sandstorm's G1 to get her max distance. I don't think she's not going to have enough to get H1, so she's going to be at 13 distance across here. Halai temples for fire 2, and his first town, another coin town. So now that 2 key towns gone, coin towns are gone. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 towns left to go. I've got a decent shot at getting a high victory point town, which is great. I'm not econ. I don't need right now. I'm just trying to maximize points as best as I can. So go ahead and build a trading post. Keep dwellings open as long as I can. I don't want to be stuck in some situation. There's not much I can do to get blocked here. Halai's not going to dig I2. It doesn't have the workers for it. So this isn't really under threat at this point, and these at the moment aren't under threat, but I just don't want to get in any situation where I need to build a dwelling immediately and I don't have the dwelling available for it. So build that TP first. Simon starts expanding out here. He'll be able to get to D2 right there and stretch that distance, D2 to B9. Jekyll Towns takes the 11 pointer. Yep, she doesn't need econ either. Halai Towns and takes the ship town here. Gives him a boost because he's at 4 ships, so 1, 2, 3, 4 to D10. That pushes his distance to 12 from H2 to D10. So that if Simon gets D2, that's tied for 3rd place in distance. I wonder that's something. I wonder if that was worth it over a higher point time. You have to do the math on how much because I mean at that point he's getting 4 points for the ship upgrade, and the next one is 5. So like that's a good point boost. And it's, I guess, 3 more points in distance scoring. Just a lot to jockey over a tie for 3rd place there. And then I go ahead and secure I2. So that gets me at 14 distance, which is, unless Jekyll can take H1, that locks up my distance win there. One thing off the to-do list. Simon goes to D2. Jekyll hard digs A1 for her 3rd town right there. Takes cult town. At this point, there's 2 priest town and a cult town. I don't really have a preference between those. I'd probably prefer the priest town, assuming I have a priest. Right now I don't have any in my supply, because I'm not competing for. I mean, there's a little competition for the Earth cult because Halai has those 3 priests remaining. But really, my biggest competition is Simon on this fire cult here, as I'm just trying to maximize my points that I have. So that the 1 point difference between the priest and the 8-pointer might actually be a difference. Normally, the 8-pointer is a kind of a go-to here in this like crowded cult track situation, but I think it might be worth it here. I'm continuing to stall. I needed another trading post, so I go ahead and just build it there. Simon builds his stronghold. He's going to get points for that. We'll build a bridge there, so he'll use his workers for that. and Jekyll is just boosting ship at this point. She's at 16 network. She's going to win network. Just a really strong, solid nomads game. 3 towns, scoring a lot from your towns, scoring well from the track, winning network. She's going to get second in distance scoring, winning a cult. That's what you're looking for from this nomads game. Halai builds his last town, takes the cult one. We have 2 priest town available. I open up space for that last priest from the town. And actually what I do before then is I don't want Simon taking a priest power action. So I was probably, if I needed to dig this gray here, I need 5 workers left. 1, 2, 3, 4 for digging and dwelling there, and for dwelling there. So I might have used that power as a worker, but I really don't want Simon taking a priest as we're jockeying on the fire cult. So I go ahead and take a priest action. Simon towns for one of those priest towns. So I have the last town to form here. Jekyll and Halai pass. Big scores all around for both of them. And I was probably a little sloppy here. I down converted that priest into a worker. I could have just saved it. Probably cost myself 2 points in the end game. Because at this point Simon's not threatening A7 to A5, so I've got that 3rd place in network locked up. He's going to finish at 12 structures, I think, and I'll be at 14. He's not getting 2 more down. So I didn't need that worker for digging, and I could have just sent it to fire and then priest towned. But what's 2 points anyways in this close of a game? Ouch. Now I'll go ahead and dig that connection. At this point, I'm just going to use workers. I just use that worker for a point anyway, so I might as well just do the hard dig. Got my connection, got everything done this round. Now I'm just going to send those priests to cults. Simon does the same. And up we go, up the fire cult. He builds another trading post for points. He scores so efficiently there. 1 more priest. Oh, okay, I got that a little wrong. I forgot Simon needed to jump there. So I guess I could have, there was so much to keep track of at the end of this game. It's hard to remember all the steps. So maybe I did play that optimum. No, I think I probably could have at least been more patient with it. But I'm passing. I have done everything I wanted to this round, and for the most part, everything I wanted to this game. It was a game of trade-offs. Like I thought I wasn't hitting the town round hard. And one downside of the ship strategy is that there's no ship VP in the game. And that would have been a really nice way to cash in a little bit more, because shipping isn't always it takes a lot of coins to get out there. And even though I had this big influx of coins early, it still costs, and I managed 3 coins actions through the game. There are a lot of trade-offs, a lot of things to balance. But by the end, I did everything that I wanted to in this game. I knew I wasn't going to get everything, like the towns, but I got 1 town. I was proud of my 1 town. I got distance like I was hoping to. Scored pretty well in the cults. That's 18 cult points there, and managed 3rd place on network. Scored well, at least in a couple dwelling rounds to stay competitive, and got a lot of points. I didn't take any power spade action, so all my digging came starting with those cult spades and then in the last 2 rounds. So I got a decent number of points from that, and that was what I was hoping to accomplish in this Halflings game. And we'll see how it plays out in the end scoring. It is a close game between Halai, Jekyll, and myself. This is a little slow. I might mess up the replay, so I'm not going to speed through it. We'll sit here together and watch the points tally up. I think what I really like, what I'm proud of about this game is that it wasn't a big econ game. I ended round one with a temple and a dwelling. I hit the cult rewards well, but that doesn't really compare to just the raw econ of like Halai building a bunch of dwellings in round one and then trading posts and then more dwellings. But I was able to use the econ I had effectively. Like getting distance out there, securing the Browns during the dwelling round. I didn't get the most workers in this game. I didn't get the most coins in this game. But I think I took the parameters of this game and scored as effectively as I could. And that felt good. It's not the most obvious, at least it wasn't to me the most obvious way to play. But there was a good line for Halflings here. And I was happy to find it. It was at least more creative than my Swarmlings game last time I played Halai. So I get the win. 170 to 164, 163. With Simon not helping me in finding out how to play engineers on Fire and Ice. Someone else will teach us. I'm joking. Simon's a very good engineers player in a lot of places. So looking through okay, we'll tabulate for a minute. Like I said, the biggest standout in the stats here was Halai's track scoring. All of us were like 25 to 30 in track points, like getting a couple town points, and throughout he got 55. Dwellings in round one, a temple in round two, 4 trading posts in round 3, more dwellings in round 4, both big buildings round 5, 3 towns round 6. Like that was just massive. Another he had a lot of econ, but he used it really effectively. Yeah, other than that, we're not going to get there. You can find this game if you want to dive into the stats some more. I hit the track well. Jekyll played a really solid game across the board. And I played a targeted game as Halflings, and that was just enough for the win. So that's it. I hope you all have enjoyed the stream, or not the stream, the recording. I hope you've enjoyed the recording. It was a really fun game for me, and I hope it was informative and fun to follow along with. And I'll see you all around turn-based land. All right.